Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Today is Thursday, March 18th. Got a bit of a packed show for you guys today. Episode number 7. Episode 7 already. What am I going to talk about today? We got a little bit about Twitch. What's Twitch been up to? Twitch. Some TikTok stars. How do they make their money? I've done some digging, and I'm trying to figure it out. March Madness is upon us. What's going to happen? Do I like March Madness? Do I like college basketball? How do I feel about that? You might be surprised. The Snyder Cut, I've seen it today. I was thinking about watching it at midnight, but I was also saying, like, you know what? I'll save this for the morning or the afternoon. I'm going to save this one. I want to be fully awake and in my couch on my big TV with my soundbar and watch this thing unfold. Was it worth it? Was it really worth it? We're going to find out about that today. But let's start with Twitch. How about Twitch? What is Twitch? If you guys don't know what Twitch is this streaming platform that is usually used to stream streamers, entertainers, content creators playing video games. That's its like main thing. That's what it's always been about. Streamers making boatloads of money, getting a big following, a big community, getting behind them, watching them play video games, talk to them, interacting with their chat boxes, interacting with their communities, being friendly, making friends, having some fun, just pure entertainment. And everything about Twitch it could be good or bad. I've seen a lot of drama about Twitch, falling outs of Twitch, people getting banned on Twitch. Dr. Disrespect getting banned, other people getting banned. Their DMCA thing with their playing of music and their strict copyright rules, which, everybody really has. Every platform has that. But I've seen a lot of it. And I appreciate the creators on Twitch because they have this marathon-like mentality. Like my brother does it too. You can follow him or subscribe to his Twitch at Average Elite 1. Average Elite 1. That's his Twitch account. But I always really admired the marathon mentality of Twitch streaming because literally, if you play games or you do a live stream or you do like a just chatting thing for like over, maybe over like 4 hours, right? You go on to 6, 8, 10, 12 plus hours of streaming. And you're on you've got to be, really dedicated, and you got to have a lot of stamina. You got to be able to keep up with the chat while also, reminding yourself that you're on a hot mic most of the time. Most of the time, you're going to be on a hot mic. And shoot, man, for however many hours you're going to be on that hot mic, you got to be careful what you're saying. You need to be careful what you're saying. And, like, I don't get it, man. I wish I understood how they did it. And, I applaud them. Yeah, I do. But I'm also like, dang. It's like your hours are like 12-hour days, 16-hour days. And it's like, are you happy about that? And I'm pretty sure, like, the intention and the beginning of most of these creators is like, yeah, I'm having some fun. I'm having a lot of fun. But I've done some, like, digging in on some people's streams. And I'm not going to name their names. But, like, some of them that I see, some of them, like, are so bent over and at their feet of their chat boxes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I have the I wouldn't want to be like determined or dictated by a chat box on to answer questions, on to do things, on to give me a shout out, on to do that or whatever. I don't feel like I have that in me to do that. I've always admired the way that they handle that too, because some people, I'm sure, like, there's drama in the chat boxes. I'm sure that there's bad behavior. There's a bunch of bad things that could happen in that chat box, and then you're responsible for it. So I've always been pretty respectful in the way of how they do that, because they do Twitch. And when I mean they do Twitch, I mean they have loads of followers, loads of watchers, viewers, whatever. They're making some cash money right there. They're making cash money, and it's cool because literally they just stream all day long and make a ton of money, boatloads of money. And it's like, well, I understand why you do that, but I also like I want to see like how many dollars will it take for you to like kind of like not do what you do. You know what I mean? Like, because some people on Twitch, whether it be like, oh, a video game streamer like Tim the Tatman or Nick Merckx or whoever, they usually aren't focused on their chats all the time. Like, they kind of go back and forth playing their video games, and they're also talking to their friends and doing things like that. And they'll occasionally look at their chat and answer a couple questions or say this or say that or whatever. But I just, whenever like I see them just like looking at their chat and like seeing what they're want to respond to or want to ignore, I'm always like kind of like concerned of how that person goes about their day. You know what I mean? Like I wonder if he's had like training, or he's so like he's prepared of what might happen, if he's gonna get baited, if he's gonna get like played on their chat or whatever. You gotta admit, like, there's gotta be some people that watch their stream that don't like these people, right? There's got to be at least a few that are trying to get this person to be, say something that they shouldn't be saying, do something that they shouldn't be doing, and like that might be their entire purpose, just to make this streamer mess up, or put him in some kind of a bad light or a bad like situation. So I'm always like kind of like really astonished and really I full respect to like what these guys do. It's crazy. But I have this weird thing that's happening with me personally. And I don't know if this is for every person on Twitch, but I think what's happening is that I'm getting some weird recommended channels on my Twitch. And let me remind you, I subscribe to my brother, Average Elite 1, Tim the Tatman, and a couple other people, right? So whenever like I see them pop up, I'll pop in, watch their stream a bit, and then pop out. I'm not like some person that's just gonna be lingering in the chat or their stream all day. I don't have, I don't want to be watching them do something all day long for hours and hours and hours. I just don't want to be like that. I don't have the attention span, or I don't have the time to do that, and I don't want to either. So when I see what I'm recommended, and everything like I'm seeing right now is in just chatting. So I'm guessing that the just chatting page, or the tab or whatever, is the most viewed tab, I think, and that's why it's recommending me these people. So when I go to browse, I'm on it right now, and I go to just chatting and I click on it, I'm seeing like I don't know who or what. I understand, but like there's a lot of most of the people that are on Twitch recommended and just chatting, and I'm looking at it right now, I'd say a majority of the people on here are women, right? And and they're not fully clothed, by the way. Now, there's no nudity on Twitch, which would be bad because there's a lot of kids on Twitch. So, and I would feel like since there's so many kids, I would have to believe on Twitch, wouldn't like there be like and I understand like the parents should also like be like, hey, what is your kid watching? They should be the number one person who's dictating of what your child is able to watch on the internet. I get that. But it's just like everything I'm getting recommended is these not fully clothed women on Twitch just chatting at their chat, just talking. And I'm just here sitting like, what am I even doing here? What am I doing? I'm not doing this. I'm not making any money. So I'm thinking like, wait a minute. What if I just went onto Twitch and chatted without my shirt on? Maybe I could rake up some money. Maybe I could, pay for a house, a car, whatever. You think about it, you're like, hey, hold on. These women are making some money. Respect the hustle. Like, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm the moron. Maybe I should take off my shirt But I don't think anybody's going to want to see that. It could be a big mistake, but make some cash money on it. But whatever. But I just think that it's weird because that has to be the reason, right? That has to be because Just Chatting is the most viewed tab right now, and the top people on Just Chatting are not fully clothed women. So it's got to be it. That has to be it. I don't think that the person who's putting the recommendations on Twitch is some horny guy. It can't be. That's just not how it works. It's got to be this algorithm thing, this AI bullshit. I don't know. It's got to be something that's different that I'm missing. I think I cracked the code right here because I've been wondering why I've been getting all these not fully clothed women on my recommendations. I don't search for this. I don't even go on Twitch all that much. But when I see it, I'm like, wait a minute, what is it doing? I didn't want this. Now, I don't click on them because I don't find that entertaining, but still, I'm just like, wait, why am I getting this? And I can't be the only person who's getting this. I really can't, because if I go all the way to the bottom of this recommendation, I see Shroud, and he's playing Tom Clancy's Raid, whatever, Rainbow Six, and it's got 22,000 viewers, but the person who's at the very top of my recommendations has only a little bit less than 10,000. So I'm guessing that it's got to be this weird algorithm thing where it's like, Just Chatting is the number one tab, so we're gonna give you everything that's Just Chatting, and then go from there. It's got to be. I don't like. That's all I can think of. There's nothing I can point to that would make me why these people pop up on my channel or my feed or the recommendations. So it's like, I don't know what's happening. I really don't know, and it's been confusing me because when I see it, I'm like, bro, what am I doing? Like, this is supposed to be a kid's site, right? This is supposed to be a kid's site. Like, and I remember like now like this one platform, this one tab, Just Chatting, pretty much has like more viewers than like almost any other video game on this one, like single video game, right? So it's like right now, Just Chatting has got 515k viewers. The next one is Grand Theft Auto 5 with 442k viewers. So it's like, man, that's beating GTA 5. It's like, why, my God. And now I know why it's recommended. I just figured that out right now. So now I know why I'm getting recommended all these Just Chattings, because that's the number one tab. It's got to be. There's no other explanation, because the people who I follow aren't the same type of people. I follow some of my friends, my brother, obviously. But, like, I think I finally got to the bottom of this case, because I was getting a little bit weirded out. Like, why? I didn't understand why at first, but now I think I do. And now that I know now, that makes me feel better, I think. Because I was thinking, like, wait a minute, when you sign up for chat or Twitch, does it ask you your gender or whatever? Like, maybe if I chose something else, would it choose something different? I had no idea why it was doing that. I had no idea every time, and there's no history that I can clear, because like whenever you go onto YouTube and like you find like I had this problem when I was looking up stuff for like spoilers, like on The Mandalorian or whatever. Like if you would type in The Mandalorian too much in YouTube or whatever, it would start revealing things about The Mandalorian. Like, say if you hadn't watched the newest episode or whatever, and you typed in way too much Mandalorian, or like way too much theory, or you type in these keywords in the search bar. After you do that, and if you don't clear your search history, you're going to get all these other videos in your feed, and you might see something that might spoil the show or a movie or whatever. So you got to be careful with that. So I was thinking, like, wait a minute, I don't search these people. So how am I getting all this recommended? And I think, like, now that I know why Twitch is doing this, it's like, okay, I get it. I understand now. I think I do. I think I got a bit of a grasp on what was happening, because I was getting a little weirded out. I was like, wait, damn, because it goes back to when I was on the Out of the Ordinary Friends podcast, when we were talking about discussing how this guy injured his penis because Twitch was recommending him all these women, and he couldn't control himself, and then he injured his penis, and he tried to sue Twitch, and everybody was like, whoa, bro, like he was trying to sue Twitch, like, no, Twitch did this to me, they recommended me all these channels to all these women and all that. I was just thinking, like, wait a minute, maybe that's why, because Just Chatting is so damn popular, it just recommends those ones because it's so popular. It must be. I think it must be that. By the way, I don't hate on Twitch. I don't hate anybody who does Twitch. I think Twitch is a great platform to entertain, to talk, to build a community, to build an audience, to build friendships, to build business ideas. Twitch is a great platform for that. A lot of people have made money on Twitch, and Twitch is heavily used. It's from what I know, it's like the number one platform for a live streaming. So like it is what it is. Twitch knows what it's doing. Twitch knows like these people bring in their money. They're not going to stop that. I mean, sure, and they do put. I'm sure they put on warnings for certain streams or certain people or whatever, and it's not their fault if you click it because you ended up clicking it. So I have no beef with Twitch. I think Twitch is a good platform, a good tool, and a good way to for entertainment. Really, I mean, think about that. We solely crave is entertainment, and you can find entertainment in many other mediums. It's not just movies and TV anymore. It's Twitch, it's YouTube, it's apps like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. It's all that. Everything now can be harnessed and viewed as entertainment now. So it's crazy, and like some people would say like, Twitch is like one of the, biggest like entertainment platforms ever. One of the biggest ones ever, because you think about it. So I follow Tim the Tap Man, and he would get paid by Amazon Prime to watch football games on Thursday night, back when it was Thursday Night Football. And he was able to stream the game along with himself watching the game. So it's like they're all cashing in and doing these advertisements and doing promotions and doing partnerships and all that. So it's just this big business thing that they're doing now. And I get why they're doing it, because they know that these creators have so many following, a huge following, a bunch of followers. So it's like, oh, hey, why not? We're not like shoving anybody, this down their throat. We're not making you watch it. So it's like, hey, let's capitalize on this. This opportunity is here, and let's take advantage of it. I get that. I understand that, and I think if people are going to be sour about Twitch and say like, hey, you shouldn't be making money on Twitch, that's not a real job. Well, you know what? If you're making somebody have providing somebody with entertainment with and they want to donate money, they want to subscribe to you, they want to do this, they want to do that, then that is technically you are making money. And sure, it's not like a traditional job where you got to clock in and clock out 8 hours a day, whatever. We get that, but the world is changing. The entertainment is becoming one of the biggest forms of earning money, And it's not just like Twitch, but like YouTube does it too. But YouTube's kind of been a little bit on the decline, I would say. Twitch is kind of approaching like where YouTube was back in the day, but because it's all live. It's a live platform. You don't upload videos on there. You do everything live. So when you do it live, then it becomes like a video on demand. Then you can go back and watch it if you want, but you can't like just straight up upload a video onto Twitch. It's only live. And again, like I said, with live, you got to be careful if you're going to be on like for so many hours. You just it's also like it's dangerous, because you need to be careful of what you say. And if you're on for like all those hours, you're not being careful, and somebody plays you or somebody baits you and all that, then it's like, you can get banned or whatever, and then what? Then you lose like some income for a while. And then like you got to remember, like, these people use Twitch as their job, their main source of income. So I mean, who are you to tell somebody that that's not a job? You know what I mean? Like, because they're not doing something that you do, they're doing something that they enjoy doing, that they use their talents for, and like, you're just not in a good place with your job or whatever. You feel cheated, or you're getting jealous, or like, maybe, well, why don't you just try to do something else then? Maybe not just hate on what they do, but try to do something that you like, or try Twitch out or whatever. You can do that. You can do that. No one's stopping you. No one's saying like, oh, I have to do this because this is what I do. No, you're not tied down to anything. It may be hard at first, yeah, but because you gotta provide maybe for your family, for your children, whatever. But like, you're even, just yourself. But it's a risk, and you gotta be willing to take that risk. Life is a big risk. You never know what's gonna happen. You never know what's gonna go your way, what's gonna go wrong. You just never know. So you just gotta be willing to take that risk. If that means you gotta take less hours at your actual job to do it, then if you believe in it, then you ought to do it then, I guess. I mean, I'm not saying like quit your job. No, don't just quit your job. Take into some thought about it. If you want to pursue Twitch, if you want to do this, you need to take some thought into it and make that decision for yourself, because only you know your capabilities. Only you know what you can do, what you can handle, and what you can't handle. Only you know that. Maybe you have some advisors, a psychiatrist, whatever, that you talk to about that. That's all great. If it helps you in your life, do it. That's what I'm saying. Like, only you know you, the people that you tell yourself to, the people, whether it be those people, but like only you really know yourself, and you know your limits, and you know your capabilities. So you make that decision yourself. And like I said, I'm not saying quit your job. Please don't do that. If you know that you can't do it, or you can't afford to quit your job, don't do that. But if you see this and you're like, oh, F the people on Twitch, it's not a real job, well, then go get a real job, or go do what you want to do. Do that. Have some drive, because these people did do what they wanted to do. They probably did have to quit their job. They probably were scared about their income. They probably were scared about how much, if they were going to succeed. They probably were. And some of them probably failed, and failed hard, miserably, and had to go back. But they learned a lesson. Maybe it woke them up. Maybe it said like, hey, you know what? Maybe this just wasn't for me. Maybe I wasn't cut out for this. Maybe I just didn't have it in me. Maybe I should never have done it. Only they know. Again, you only know yourself. I want to shift a bit to TikTok. And this is a topic that was brought to me by a fan of the show. Thank you so much for putting it out there. And the topic was, he wanted me to going to go through the top 5 earners on TikTok, because I, for one, am not very familiar with TikTok. I know what it sort of is. I know what it was kind of about when it first started, but I never really was into it. I don't have a TikTok. I don't have the app. I had to go onto YouTube just to find like the top people. I found an article on Forbes about the top, the highest earning stars on TikTok, and I'm going to go through the list of who they are and what they do, because for me, TikTok was always just like I saw it as like, I remember when I first saw TikTok, I was like, is this just an app where you can lip sync and dance, and that's all you do? Because everybody was doing that, and I thought, like, is that all you can do? Turns out you can do a lot more. But I'm gonna go through the top 5 earners on TikTok, and for like a back information, this is an article by Forbes. It was published on when was it? August 6th, 2020. So this was a little bit about a year ago. It is March, so August 2020. And these are what they make during their first 12 months on the platform. Wait, I think that's what it says. Let me see. Hang on. Shoot. So it's going to be going through these viral video creators, all of whom earned at least $1 million in the 12 months through June, have only just begun to monetize their fame, primarily through the sales of personality-branded merchandise and sponsored content, but for brands such as Sony, Chipotle, and Revlon. So it's going to be like a 12-month thing of what they earn in a year, their yearly pay, I guess. So we got number 1 with earning $5 million is Addison Rae Easterling. That's $5 million on just TikTok. That's a lot of money. So that's number 1. Number 2 is Charlie D'Amelio, and she makes $4 million on TikTok. Up next is her Dixie D'Amelio, I'm guessing her sister, and she makes $2.9 million on TikTok. That's crazy. That's a lot of money. And then number 4, we got Lauren Gray. She makes $2.6 million on TikTok. Still a lot of money. And number 5, we got at $1.5 million, this guy named Josh Richards. So again, like, these guys make a ton of money. I've done a little bit of research on what these TikTokers do on TikTok, and literally it's just what I said. They lip sync songs. They do these funny dances. They do sometimes with other people. For the majority, it's just them doing like these dances, and like these aren't like dances that you might know. I've never seen any of these dances, and they're always to the beat of the music, whether it be like a rap song, any song really. I've seen a vast majority of variety of songs that they dance to and lip sync to. And I will say this: when you see it, like when you see them do it for the first time, it is a little bit. It's you look at it and it's very like, wow, that's weird. I've never seen that before. Like I've never seen anybody like move to that song like that or lip sync that song. But then after a couple, you're like, oh, it's kind of just the same thing. They're doing this over and over and over again. So I'm just like thinking like I don't understand how this was so sustainable for so long, that they've got like these deals with these companies like Chipotle and Revlon. I was just like kind of blown away when I read the article about that. And I was just like, wow, that's insane. So there's two things that I have missed out on: TikTok and Twitch. So I'm just losing out on all fronts here today. So I don't know to me, like doing those dances, doing those lip syncs, I would feel extremely, extremely embarrassed. And I gotta admit, like, these guys had to have known, like, this is gonna make me look weird. I'm gonna look dumb doing this. But the fact that they actually did it and they made so much goddamn money off of it, I mean, I gotta give you respect, right? I mean, like, I can't deny what you did was a bad thing. You made so much goddamn money off of it. So it's just like, I mean, I personally, I don't find it that entertaining, like for that long to just to keep watching it, and then they literally do the same thing over and over and over again. So I'm thinking like maybe I wouldn't. I'm not the person who's gonna keep watching those TikToks, but I mean, I guess I got to give it to you because you made so much money off of it. Like, dang, you definitely cashed in on the younger audience. I will say that because a lot of the younger people, I'm 27, so I think I might have missed it, but they probably like this a lot. They probably watch them all the time. I know people who are on TikTok a lot, so I guess I just missed it. So, I mean, kudos to you. You did a good job, a good thing. You provided entertainment for so many people, and you got paid. So, I mean, what can I say? Good job. Definitely something that I would never probably watch ever. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna hate on it. I'm not gonna say like, oh, you don't deserve your money, you don't deserve this, that. I mean, well, yeah, you kind of did, because with doing what you did, you got so many companies to want to, work with you or do things with you or, collab together. So it's like, you didn't fail at all. You did you made it to the top. If you're getting sponsored and you're being like promoted by Chipotle, right? One of the biggest like quote unquote Mexican restaurants in the world, then like you're doing something right. You did something that everybody notices and everybody thinks that it's cool, and with a company that you most likely like. So it's like, you did well. You won. You're winning. You did a good thing. So it's like, yeah, cool, whatever. But it's just not for me though. It's not for me. And but it's weird because I some of my friends like TikTok for other reasons though, and I fall in this category of the TikToks that you will probably never ever see on TikTok. Now, what I'm about to say is going to be a little bit weird, but I think if you completely just obliterate your search history on TikTok and search the weirder shit, you might have a little bit more fun. And the reason I've seen these TikToks is, well, one, because I don't have TikTok. I'm just giving you some advice if you want to see some of these, because they do exist and they're out there, but you're just not seeing them. Is that if I watch this podcast or listen to this podcast called Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and Christina P., but what they do is they have they're a comedy duo, husband and wife, and they're really great comedians, and they have this podcast that comes out every week. And one of their segments that they talk about is TikToks and all, and not the TikToks that you're used to seeing, but some weird people on there, some people that just, they put out a TikTok addressing one person, but it goes out to the world and everybody sees it. And I think that's just, it's so funny because like you get such a variety of weird people on that spectrum of TikTok, on that algorithm of TikTok, that will never ever really see the light of day unless you watch the show or you search it yourself. So when I watch Your Mom's House and when we get to the TikTok segment, I sometimes I'm so surprised at the people of what they do on TikTok, because it literally is just like, so they have no idea how the app works. They have no idea what people do on it, what the majority of the content on TikTok is, And it's just so funny to see how people use TikTok in a way that they didn't know it was made for. It's so bizarre. It's weird, but it's also so like you can't stop watching it because it's like I'm so like I am so fascinated by the way people interact with things in a different way than what they're supposed to. You'll get somebody on TikTok saying like, "Hey Joe, just want to say happy birthday, and I'll see you next weekend" or whatever. It's like that's going out to everybody, bro. Everybody's seen that who follows you. That might just be everybody's gonna see that. It's not just TikTok isn't like meant for person to person messaging or whatever. It's not that, I think. So when you send it out like that and everybody can see it, and it's just like I just find it so funny because it's just people who don't know how to use the app, and it's so weird. It's so you can tell like they don't mean it really, but they don't know how it works. So it's just like, man. But it's also really funny because like you get some weird things. You also like I've seen some TikToks where it's just like it's just my favorite is when people ask other people on dates. And this is true. I've seen this happen a few times. When it happens, they're like, "Hey, I just want to know if you will go out with me. Will you see me? I think you look cute. I think you're pretty or whatever." And they actually send that out to the world. And I'm just thinking like, dude, this is not a dating site. Don't send this out. People are going to see it. This is horrible. But again, I can't stop watching it because I can't stop. It's so entertaining and it's so funny to see that people just are so oblivious to a platform and literally just hear the word TikTok and think like, oh, that's some, dating app or whatever. And it's just like, and there's some people who literally have the intent of finding a soulmate or a boyfriend or a girlfriend on TikTok like it's some dating site. It's so bizarre, and I just like I couldn't stop watching. And like the best thing ever is when you see a TikTok, and I only see these on Your Mom's House podcast, is when like they have these TikToks of some people trying to give advice to other people. Like that's what their job is. Like you go to their TikTok account and it's just all advice on how to pick up men, how to pick up women, how to deal with relationships. It's like, what is happening? So you got a wider spectrum of people who you've probably never even thought of. Yeah, the Josh Richards, Addison Rays, the Charlie D'Amelio, whatever. You've heard of all those people, but I'm pretty sure there's this other side of TikTok. I call it the dark side of TikTok that you probably have never seen and probably never even heard of. But if you watch Your Mom's House, if you search for these weird things on TikTok, there's a whole another realm there, and it's just other people that you haven't even heard of, seen. It's gonna blow your freaking mind because when I see these on the podcast, on the show, I cannot believe that they're actually TikToks. I cannot believe it because they're so out of the loop of what that app is made for and what the majority of people do that they turn it into something else. And when I say they turn it into something else, if you were a fan of this app back in the day, I used to use it a lot. It was called iFunny. And what that was is that it took like a bunch of weird video memes from Vine, from Instagram, from, there's Snapchat, whatever. Like it would rip these memes from those platforms and they would just put them on there. So you wouldn't have to get Vine or Instagram or Twitter or whatever. They would just all be there. But it was some like the weirdest, bizarrest shit I've ever seen. And that's kind of like what TikTok is almost becoming, because to me, iFunny is kind of dead. I don't use it anymore, but like when I see like the stuff like on Your Mom's House, it's like it's almost the same as you see on iFunny. Or it's not as memey, but it's the weird shit that you see, the weird shit. And from what I said about like the dating advice, the boyfriend advice, that's like not even all of it. There's some even more weirder shit there. You can find people getting hurt. There was a video of somebody like releasing a bear into the wild. There was like a video of some people just, saying, "Hey, this is my day. This is what I do." You can find so many other people and different types of people on that platform. It's just like, I can't even believe it, bro. I can't believe how many people use that app and how many people just post whatever they want, not knowing it's like, hey, people are going to see this, that you might not want them to see it, but you're like, oh yeah, I thought it was just to this person. No, it wasn't. It's to everybody. Everybody saw it. So it's like, man, dude, I want to know like what they're thinking about that when they hear it and when they see it, like, oh shit, that went to everybody. Like, yeah, bro, it did. Everybody saw it. So like, it's just crazy. Like, I personally don't enjoy TikTok. Like again, I don't have the app. I don't check it frequently. I usually just check it on your mom's house like every week whenever they have that on their show. But it's just, oh man, there's just a whole nother side of TikTok that I think the majority of the people do not know exists. And if you search for it, you might find it and you might be freaked out, you might be disappointed, or you might be incredibly, incredibly happy. It's your choice if you want to. I'm just saying that there's this other side there that many people don't know about. So it's just, oh boy, I don't know. I have no idea. It's just, I'm lost for words for it because it's so bizarre. It really is bizarre. And it's also funny because I watch him on the show and I can't stop laughing about him because like they see it with me and I'm like, I think the same way as Tom and Christina. So it's like, oh my God, like I didn't know these people did that. I didn't know that they thought that this was what the app was for. It's weird to see all those people so clueless on TikTok. That's why I didn't make one because I didn't know what it was really. And I didn't know like, I saw like the lip syncing, the dancing and all that, the singing, the music, and I'm like, wait a minute, is this all you do? And then I saw the show and I'm like, oh, okay, there's more to it. You can pretty much put whatever you want on there. It's just like the dancing and the music was just like one of the big things that they promoted and did, and that got people the most followings and they made the most money off of it. So it's like, I get it now. I understand. You really could do anything, but like the music thing was like a big what's the word? It was a big component to the app, and it made that part fun. I mean, like if you like lip syncing or karaoke or dancing or whatever, I get it. Like it's gonna be very, very appealing to people of why people would want to watch that or why people would want to see that. I get it. Music is it translates all people and all that, so it's cool. I get that, but at the same time, it's like I would feel like that would get a little repetitive and I would get a little bored by it. So I would be like, again, when I saw the videos and the compilations on YouTube, I was like, okay, this is all they do. I'm bored of it. I've seen one was cool, two was all right, but then I'm like, all right, I'm kind of over it. Now, if you noticed, last week's episode, I didn't talk a lick of sports. Not because I didn't want to, or not because I got backlash of people like not liking the sports section, just because I kind of forgot to, and I kind of didn't put it in the notes, and I was just like, well, yeah, I already have this and that and this and that. I'll just leave sports out for this week, that last week. And I'm like, maybe people missed it, maybe they didn't, but now we're going to talk about some sports. And the big thing that's happening this Friday, tomorrow, is going to be March Madness, the men's NCAA basketball tournament. If you don't know what that is, it's a big college tournament where all the best teams from all the best conferences who make the tournament play for the national championship to be national champions of the country, the best college basketball team in the country. And I have a little bit of a mixed feeling of this tournament. I enjoy it, but I also know what it is, and I shouldn't expect that much of it. What I mean by that is I am watching college kids play basketball. And where I enjoy basketball, I enjoy sports, I enjoy, competition, and I enjoy this. But there are some times when you watch college and then you see like all the mistakes and you see all the miscues and you see all the fouls being called, the missed shots, the missed layups, the missed dunks, the missed opportunities, whatever it is. And then I kind of get a little bit of a reckoning again, like, oh yeah, it is just college. Like I'm not watching professional athletes like in the NFL, MLB, NBA play their sports, right? These are the kids that are playing their sports still. Some of them aren't even focused on making it to the NBA. They're just doing it to play basketball and getting a scholarship and then doing whatever they want after that with their degree. I get that. So whether I see the college basketball as being this big tournament, this big college versus college fan base, alma mater, pomp and circumstance. I get that, but when it comes down, you boil it down to the actual game itself, the competition, the team, one team versus the other team. I get the quality of the play is just not there for me. So it's kind of weird. Like I enjoy the competition, I enjoy the tournament itself, and what it brings with all the games and matchups. And this team is the number one seed. They have to beat this 15th seed, and that usually does happen. But I do get a little mad when it's like, oh, the number one seed fell to the 8th seed, or the 8th seed is going all the way to the championship, and then they get blown up by the obvious winner. And then it's like, well, okay, cool. I like the drama of it. Like I enjoy like when like the Cinderella story happens, when the number 8 seed beats the 1 seed. I like that. I enjoy that for what it is, for the storyline. But it's like, does that make the tournament better as the quality of the sport? Like the quality of the basketball is as because like sometimes you'll see like a game like I think it was like maybe last week I was watching a little bit of a game, and it was like 6-8. And like 12 minutes have already passed in the half of the basketball game. And I was like, if you don't know, college basketball, they play 2 20-minute halves. So like 12 minutes went by, and the combined score was 14 points. So it's like, I mean, yeah, the game is a big game, but the quality of the basketball is not big time quality. So when I see that, I'm like, oh, I'm not saying it's going to happen in the tournament, but like usually if that does happen, you have to remind yourself like, oh yeah, it's just college basketball. It's just amateur basketball. I mean, like, what did you expect? Like, what was your, like, did you expect like 115 points? No, it's not the NBA. These are just kids. They don't know, like, they don't know. They're not trying, not all of them are trying to make the NBA. They're just trying to play for the school. They don't have like the talent that the people who get drafted into the NBA do. Like I'm not saying that nobody in the tournament is going to go to the NBA. Yeah, a lot of them do, but there's also a bigger majority who don't get drafted or don't even go to the draft or just play, just to play for the school. Not saying that they're not good, but it's not like you're getting all NBA rookie class talent in every single game. You know what I mean? It's not going to be, as high scoring, as technically, smart. Nobody's going to be as good as the NBA. So like when you watch it, it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like it's pomp and circumstance. Yeah, it's cool. But it's like I'm watching a lesser quality of basketball. And that kind of gets to me because I'm like, okay. Like and it's not like because I don't hate college. I hate college sports. I don't hate college sports. I just don't think that if you didn't go to a big school or you didn't go to if you're not like a big fan of college sports, you didn't go to a big alma mater school, then it's just kind of like, okay, it's fun, it's entertaining, but like that's it really. So like I do watch it and I do have fun with it sometimes, but like it's just like sometimes the quality when it dips too far for me, I kind of tune out a bit and I kind of get uninterested. And I'm just kind of bored, like, okay, well, where's this going? Okay, who's left? And I didn't expect that. Cool. Everybody's bracket breaks like within like the first day too. Like nobody's bracket will stay the same, and especially this year when like all the big schools like Kentucky, Duke aren't even in the tournament. It's like what's happening? You know what I mean? Like it's almost like they kind of quit this year because it was COVID year. But it's like why no? And okay, but I get why you're quitting. But it's like come on, it kind of makes the tournament not seem as legit. You know what I mean? It just makes it seem like it's not a full real year of college basketball. It's just like, okay, cool, whatever. But I still watch it. I still try to get into it. I don't watch like every game, but I watch a few games. And obviously I watch like the Final Four and see who makes it and all that. But I'm just like, it's not for me. It's I know what I'm watching. I'm watching a lesser quality of basketball, and I'm just like, it's whatever. I much more prefer the NBA Finals or the NBA playoffs. That shit is really good. That's when I get really into basketball, when those NBA playoffs start, because you get so many games, every day, and the quality is there, and all the players are there, the storylines are there, everything is there. And like in college basketball, it's so much. There are so many other schools and so many other conferences to pay attention to that you can't really. There are some schools that you don't even know about. I mean, you can get into it like really know every single team, but it's so much work to do it, and I just don't have the time for it. So it's like, yeah, I know that Michigan is good. They got Juwan Howard. I know that Iowa's good. I know that Illinois is good. But that's about it, man. I mean, like, I was expecting Duke and Kentucky to make it, but they took a dump this year. So it's like, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. It is amateur level sports. So like if you think that it's gonna be like a big scoring game, a lot of back and forth, like it usually isn't, because they are just college kids. They're kids. They're not NBA players. They're not like getting paid all this much money. They don't have the best facilities. They don't have the best. One school might have shitty recruits. I mean, you when you see like the teams that play against the number one seeds, like especially if you had Duke and Kentucky, they always get the number one prospects, the number one the kids that are gonna make the NBA within the first round of the draft. They're gonna be in the NBA. There's no doubt about it. But if you see them play like let's take like a rinky-dink school like I don't know, what's a school that's not like a basketball school. Let's say like Kentucky will play Fresno State. Like I know Fresno State's not going to get that many recruits for the NBA because they all go to those big schools like Kentucky and Duke. So like when you put them against each other, that's going to be like either a mismatch. One is that the team like Kentucky is going to play them, not going to take them seriously. So they'll either blow the game or they'll make it closer than it needs to be. And then everybody's like, well, Kentucky barely beat Fresno State by this many points. So it's like, that's when it gets interesting. But if they don't do that and they do kill them and they do, crush them, and it makes like a really, really bad game, and it's just like, oh, well, you expected this to happen. You expected that team to go the distance and that team to just fall. That's why I'm looking at this this year. Everybody's saying Gonzaga's going to win, and there's no chance anybody's going to beat Gonzaga, and that Gonzaga's destined to win it all. And it's just like, well, if you know that, and what it looks like is they are going to win it all, it's like, why even watch them? Because it's like, it just seems there isn't all that much competition with these other schools against Gonzaga because Gonzaga just looks so dang good. So it's like, okay, I get it. Everybody's picking Gonzaga to win it, so I guess I better too, so I don't look like an idiot when it doesn't happen. But, there is still a chance that they might fall to some rinky-dink school, and that's going to blow up the entire thing, and nobody knows who's going to win or who's going to lose. And so it's like, okay. That's where I guess it's like the whole, title March Madness comes in, because it's madness and all that. But it's like, I don't have that much desire to watch college kids play basketball. I just don't. You may, that's fine. Good for you, but I really don't. Before I get to the Snyder cut, I just wanted to bring a little bit back together and talk about the title, not the title, but the number of this episode 7. And it brought up a little bit of a dark spot in my past. A little bit of a, how would you say, naive spot in my past. A little bit of a wishful thinking in my past. A little bit of a, dare I say, simp for a certain movie in my past. If you don't know this, I'm talking about episode 7 of Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Now, if you know me, you know what I said. You know who I was. I was the biggest fanboy of Star Wars, The Force Awakens when it first came out back in 2015. I was all over that movie. I wouldn't shut up about it. I saw it 4 times in theaters. I was in love with it. I loved everything about it. I loved, I just loved everything about it. I was naive. I didn't listen to the criticisms. I didn't listen to the what made it a bad movie. I was so I had so much tunnel vision of why it was such a great movie, why it was the best Star Wars movie when it came out at the time. I thought it was the best thing ever. Now we're in 2021. 6 years have passed since that movie released. And in the midst of that, we've gotten Star Wars The Last Jedi and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. The trilogy of the sequels has completed. Disney has said that the Skywalker saga has been completed with episodes 7, 8, and 9. And I will say this. Well, I still enjoy bits of The Force Awakens and enjoy The Last Jedi, I can't wrap my head around of how much I dislike Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I will say this. Back when the criticisms were starting to come in about Episode 7 being too much like A New Hope, too much, it was a retread. Some people said it was like basically a remake, a rehash, a redo. I understand that. It definitely took a lot of freaking themes from the first movie and from A New Hope and put it into their version of A New Hope, or their version in Episode 7 of The Force Awakens, to start up the franchise again, to bring back the saga, to bring back the old characters that you know, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2, all those people were brought back in for Episode 7. And those are the characters that everybody knows and loves from the original trilogy, some from the prequels, but majority of in the original trilogy. And I get why they did it. I understand why they did it, because they wanted to remember that Star Wars was going to be this going back to what it was before, how it was in Episode 4, 5, and 6, being like these rinky-dink rebels against this massive empire. And I get it. I get the feel of why they did it, because at the time they felt like the prequels were so distant and so not Star Wars to them, that they were like, we gotta pretty much get rid of all that and start over with how it was in 4, 5, and 6. And I get why they did it. Because they needed to bring people back to it. And I understand that a lot of people at that time, 2014, 2015, they didn't care about the prequel trilogy. All they cared about was the originals and what was going to happen in 7, 8, and 9. Everybody at that time was like, fuck the prequels. The prequels sucked. They weren't very good. Everybody knows that, and everything. And Episode 7 with J.J. Abrams is going to bring everybody back. We're all going to love Star Wars again. We're all going to love it again, and it's all going to be our favorites again. Then the movie comes out. I love it. Others didn't. I remember my brother was like, I like it, but it's too much like A New Hope. And A New Hope is my favorite Star Wars movie. And I'm like, you're crazy, bro. It's not like A New Hope. The mission in A New Hope wasn't to find Luke Skywalker. It was to destroy the Death Star, and that's it. This wasn't the main thing. That's what I said to him. Then I was thinking like, well, sure, it wasn't, Alex. Duh. But I could see like there was a lot of tie-ins and a lot of, similarities between the movies. I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand his complaints about it and his qualms about it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I still enjoyed it a hell of a lot. I enjoyed a lot of it. And I'm just thinking like, well, it's not enough. It is the first movie of 3 more or 2 more to go. So like, you got to give it a little bit of leeway to see where it goes in 8 and where it goes in 9. So I'm thinking like, well, 7, it was iffy to some people, but also like, how is 8 and 9 going to do? How is that going to reform the story and bring it all, everything click together, and how it's all going to bring everything under the same umbrella, all these characters, all these people in the movie and whatever, all these events, how they tie up together, how that's going to happen. And I remember watching and seeing like, when Episode 8 came out, I was like, I think that it was a good, solid, I think it's a very good movie, actually. It's very, there's a lot of great moments in there, and there's a lot of great things in there. But at the same time, it ignores things that happened in 7. And then you look back on it, and then you're like, well, a lot of the stuff that happened in 7 didn't really continue in 8, where it probably should have, and new things happened in 8 that don't go anywhere. They just happened for the sake of it. New characters are brought in, new concepts are brought in, new pointless missions are brought in, and it's almost like you kind of think like, hang on, did Disney and Lucasfilm, did they plan this out, or are they just shooting from the hip? Are they just trying to see where they go with this because they have no idea what to do? And the more and more you think about it, the more and more it seems true, because then you go to Episode 9, when it literally feels like 2 movies in one, because it's so fast paced. It's there's so many new characters. Again, with the new characters, First of all, we don't even know the characters that we have right now, like Finn and Poe. Who are these guys? You know, you think about it. You look at the interviews back in the day when they were promoting the ninth movie, and they just looked like they were just so out of it. Like they didn't know like if they liked the movie that they made, if they did it, if they felt like their characters got a good wrap up of what happened. Obviously, they couldn't say much about it because they were getting paid by Disney. But then you look and it's just like you watch the movies, you watch all three, 7, 8, and 9. You look back on them, and I personally, I don't think I can watch those movies again because they don't add up. They don't make sense. They don't conclude anything. They just make it murkier. They change things that didn't need to be changed. Like, spoiler alert, Rey is the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine. Bro, Palpatine. Why? First of all, why is Palpatine back? That seemed out of left field. That just seems so awkward and random. Like, why is he back? That doesn't make any sense. He's already dead. What happened to Snoke? Or Snoke? Oh, Snoke was me all the time. Really? That doesn't make any sense. And if it does, it just makes a shadow of, like, a sliver of sense. It's just so silly. You think about it, it's just like, that does, no. Like, I don't think anybody was down for that. Like, I remember when I saw the trailer the first time, I was like, oh, Emperor Palpatine's back. He's back. He's always been back. It makes sense. But then you see it executed in the movie. It's like, oh, no. Oh, yikes. This doesn't feel natural. This feels thrown together at the last minute. It feels so rushed. It feels so, I don't know. I get a bad feeling about it. And then it's just like, I always said, like, episode 7 and 8 are what they are. One was a bit of a reimagining, one of a reintroduction of what Star Wars was. 8 took it into a new field, a completely new direction and all that. But it had the opportunity with 9 to complete that. It had the opportunity to bring it all back together, because I've always said that you can have the story of Star Wars, the sequel trilogy, is supposed to be told within 3 movies. So you need to give those movies some time to materialize within the beginning, the middle, and the end. They need each other. If one of those parts suffers and doesn't make any sense, then in my mind you lose the audience, which is what happened to me. I thought 7 was solid. I thought that 8 took chances that I liked and others didn't, but I was excited to see where it would go. And then 9 just abandoned all those and did something else completely different, and just floundered into nothing because they didn't materialize. They didn't do anything to really bridge the gaps, bridge storylines, complete the arc of characters. It just kind of left things hanging. And now I'm like, well, I don't hate 7 and 8, but I despise 9. And since 9 is supposed to be the quote unquote ending, 7 and 8 don't have that much merit to me. They don't have the rewatchability as 1 through 6 do, because they don't seem completed. They don't seem like they don't seem like it doesn't. None of it seems earned. None of it seems like they worked for the audience to go on this journey through 3 movies, and then you get to the end, and then you're like, oh, that's it? Really? It all seemed so made up, and I know that it is a movie and it's all made up, but it doesn't seem like it was crafted well enough to earn from the journey that was already taking. It just seemed like it was just so abrupt, rushed, finished quickly just to be done with it, because they didn't know what they were doing. And you feel it so much in 9. It's just like, oh my gosh. And I know 7, like I said, 7 has its problems, 8 has its problems, but they are all pretty good in their way. They all kind of make sense, some sense at least. And you kind of hope for like things to happen in 9 to wrap things up and for the trilogy, but they just don't. They just don't. So I guess why I bridge that, from this episode 7 to that episode 7 is just like, just being there, being so, positivity was through the roof. It was just, I'm ready for 7, 8, and 9. And then just like, now you remember, it's just like, oh man, what could have been? What could have been? Because there's so many good things in 7. So many good things. Kylo Ren was such a great character. Rey had potential. Finn was cool. Poe was awesome in the bits that he had. One of the things that they did, I think, that could have changed the way that the movies went is because everybody was complaining about, like, especially episode 9, that nobody cared about Poe Dameron, the X-Wing pilot. Nobody cared about him. And I was thinking, like, to myself, like, what did they do to make him not so a cooler character? What did they do wrong? And I think what they did wrong is when they shot and did episode 7, their plan was to kill off Oscar Isaac's character, Poe Dameron, the X-Wing pilot, the guy who flies Finn out of the Star Destroyer back on Jakku, and once they crash, he's just gone. He's nowhere to be found. All that they have left is his jacket, and Finn and Rey and BB-8 think he's dead, so they go on the mission without him. And then once they're on this planet, they get a little bit of a pinch with the First Order, and then Poe is just there leading the X-Wings on the charge. They know that Finn is there with BB-8, and then it's just like, oh, there's Poe. Yeah, there he is. Remember him? Well, he's a part of the story now. He's a big character. It's like, oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, cool. But I think what you could have done is, instead of just writing him out of the movie in 7 when they crash, leave him in there with the group. Let him be the guy who kind of leads them back to the Resistance, because he is without a ship at that point, and he has nothing. He doesn't know what to do. And if you put him in with that core group of Finn and Rey, they immediately you see them bond more. You see that love triangle connect within those moments, because I'll be honest with you, the connection and the chemistry between Finn and Rey in the 7th movie is great. It's fun. It's fun. It's nice to watch. It's sweet. It's heartfelt. It's cute at sometimes. They're like, "Who are you? Who are you? I know. How'd you do that? How'd you do that?" It's like it's fun to watch. And I think if you add Poe into that, it might have been trickier to write. But if you did that and you would leave him in there, it would add so much more to that character, and add so much more to the likability of that character. Because in 8, he's like barely even in it. Finn's not even in it. It's like, and they're all disjointed, and everything doesn't seem like and you get to 9, and you're like, are these guys even friends, really? They barely spend any time together. It's like, do they even know who each other are? It's like, you don't get that. And it's just like, you get like this big empty hole in these 3 characters that you should like more than you do. So it's like, wait a minute, I feel like there's something missing here. So whenever I think of episode 7, I think of the core mistake, the one mistake that they really, really made. Aside from, having all these similar themes to episode 4, you had to have left Poe with Finn. If you left him, there would have been so much more chemistry, character building, development, relationships developed, so much more things that would actually make them care about him and make them care about the trio as a whole. So that, to me, is one of the biggest mistakes that they made writing that movie, because it's just so obvious that they wouldn't because like it just seemed like they had an idea, they scrapped it, and they did something else, and it turned out not to be so good. All right, everybody, now we're into the main event. The main event, like I said, today is March 18th, a Thursday. Today was the day that Zack Snyder and HBO Max were releasing Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, if you don't know about this, let me explain to you what it is. Back in 2016, a movie called Justice League went through the theaters. It was supposed to be the sequel to BVS, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and that was the second movie of Zack Snyder's 3, which include Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Those are the 3 movies that he solely is a part of, because if you didn't know, the original Justice League, he was a part of it, but unfortunately his daughter committed suicide. He had to leave the production, and then that turned into Joss Whedon taking over. Studio meddling, other things happened, and the movie, let's just say, didn't feel like Zack Snyder's movie. It felt like part of it was Zack's, and the majority was Joss Whedon's movie. So watching that movie for the first time, I'll admit, it didn't feel like Zack Snyder's movie. It felt like a Joss Whedon movie, but at the time when I saw it, I wasn't a hater. I did not hate it as much as I thought I did. The reason why is because even though it wasn't like Zack Snyder's Man of Steel or BVS, it did, for some reason for me, click fine because it wasn't like them. And I feel like the story that they did was a bit dumbed down, but it worked as a movie, as an entertaining movie. Does it work as a connective tissue in the third movie in Zack Snyder's movies? No, it does not. It doesn't work at all. But if you look at it as just a movie, it does entertain you. It does have some cool moments. It does have some pretty bad CGI. It does have some cool scenes. But that original Justice League that came out in 2016, if you watch it as just a movie, forget about BVS and forget about Man of Steel, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Now, if you look at it from coming as a sequel and the third movie from Man of Steel and BVS, that movie is really, really bad and doesn't make any sense. Now, having watched the Snyder Cut, just today, fresh off of it, just came out like a couple hours ago. I finished it. And by the way, when this was announced back in June of 2020, everybody was on board. Everybody was like, "This has got to be good. This has got to be cool." People were putting a lot of weight on it. People were putting a lot of pressure on Zack Snyder. People were like, "Is it going to be 4 hours? Is it going to be 3 hours? What's it going to be? Is it going to be split into parts like a TV show? What is it going to be?" Because it was only going to be on HBO Max at the time, and it still is only on HBO Max. I think I don't think it's in theaters, so it was just going to be an HBO Max exclusive. So everybody was thinking like, well, what if it's not good? What if it is good? What if it's like, and everybody was saying like, I remember saying it back in the day when it was announced, like, people are treating this movie like it's the freaking body and blood of Christ. The body and blood of Christ. Like it's being held with so much pressure and so much weight on it. Like if it disappoints, everybody's going to be so outraged. Everybody's going to be so disappointed. Everybody's going to be like, was it worth it? Was Zack Snyder worth it? Was it just all talk? What's happening? And then the movie drops. The 4-hour and 2-minute movie, Snyder Cut of Justice League, went by like that. Went by like that, like a snap. I have to say, I thought that the Snyder Cut of Justice League was great. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. I got so much more depth out of it. It felt like it continued from Man of Steel and BVS. It felt like it made sense of all the things that happened before, with the previous characters, with new characters, with all their situations that they were in, the storylines and what happened with them, from Man of Steel to BVS to Justice League. It all felt like it fit, and it all felt like everything had a purpose and everything was earned. And I'm not going to spoil it. Don't worry, I won't spoil it. But I think I've finally cracked the code a bit on what has been happening with Zack Snyder's movies and with the viewers who watch them. Because if you think about it, Man of Steel, BVS, when they came out, they didn't have a lot of critical acclaim, and audiences didn't really connect to them as much as they did with Marvel movies or, whatever. I think I'm going to crack the code on this, because I think since Zack Snyder's movies, if you don't know, Man of Steel, BVS, 300, this new one, they're all grand and spectacle. They're big. They have great huge wide shots, big set pieces, lots of action, and tons of great characters. But it's mainly focused on action and action driving the story. And one of the big things that I had a problem with in Man of Steel and BVS was there's so much action in those movies. There's so much of it. And I felt like it was all because like his movies are so big, he doesn't have time to fit in these moments where you care about the action. You care about what happens. You care about who's fighting who. Those moments seem to get lost in those movies, and in this one in particular, the Justice League 4-hour edition, all of that was able to fit into it with the even more action, but you felt that the action had a purpose. You felt that the action had a meaning. It mattered. It serviced the story. You get a lot of more information that you didn't have in the first cut, and it just makes it even more worth it when you watch it. That's what I felt, because when you watch the first Justice League, there's just like a few scenes of exposition, a few things of what they tell you that is happening, why they're fighting, why they're in trouble, and then boom, action. And then it's just like this big, loud action, big, massive explosions, punching, and all that. And it's just like, yeah, it's cool to watch, but why do I care about this? And I felt that this movie, the Zack Snyder's Justice League, with it being 4 hours and 2 minutes, was necessary, because you actually got a story, the reason, the purpose for all that happened, that in the previous movies he just didn't have enough time to do it, or he couldn't do it within the time that the studio allowed him to do it. So when you watch this movie and you see it unfold, and to me it didn't feel long, but it felt like I wanted more at the end. I literally wanted more, because I thought that they handled it so well and so good that it felt paced well. Everything happened for a purpose. Things were revealed that you didn't know in the first cut, that like, oh wow, this makes more sense. I understand why this happens now, because it just, these scenes of exposition and information just elevated that scene more, because now you get it. Now you understand why it all happened, because now, before, you didn't really know why it was happening, what was going on, but now that you get this massive cut of this film, you're able to see like how things in this movie affected how it happens in this movie, and how it goes on from there and goes forward. And then you're just like, wow, this just makes so much more sense. It all makes more sense. And that for me was one of the biggest, things about this movie, is like, actually the events and what happened, I cared all about, because it was actually explained, and it was nothing was shadowed, nothing was taken out, nothing was brushed over. It all made sense, so I enjoyed the movie so much for that. And I felt like that was the problem with BVS and Man of Steel. Like, I'm not saying that they maybe were not long enough, but like, they didn't allow him to fully show what he was planning on with those movies. And now that HBO Max allows him to do whatever he wants to do, basically, you see how his vision materializes throughout the movies, and especially in this one, the new one, and you see how it all, builds up to it, and you get the character development, you get all that stuff, and it makes it feel like such a more earned and rewarding movie, that it's just like, I didn't expect to like it this much. I really didn't. But I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was necessary for it to happen, because now I have a new appreciation for the Snyder universe. I really do, because, like I said, I mean, the previous 2016 Justice League is not, it doesn't connect anything with Snyder, like barely any, and it's just like, if you watch it just as an actual just Justice League movie and nothing prior to that matters, it's all right. It's enjoyable. But now that you get Man of Steel, BVS, and now this version of Justice League, you watch them all together, it all makes sense. It all comes into fruition. It all just makes everything so much better, and now I want more from Zack Snyder's universe. I really do. Because I feel like those other versions, those other cuts, didn't want me to revisit them, and I think that's bad, because a lot of the people who did watch them, like the general public, probably were in the same boat, because they don't add a lot to the story. Now, granted, does Zack Snyder need 4 hours to tell a story? I don't know. Does he need it? Maybe. But, like, I'm just saying that the 4 hours and 2 minutes was so worth it. It was so... I wanted more. I couldn't believe that I wanted more. It shocked me at how much I wanted to see more of it. 4 hours and 2 minutes was not enough for me. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. And I gotta tip my hat to Zack Snyder, man. This delivered. This absolutely delivered, and I appreciate that what he did, how much he took to make it work, how much he wanted it to get it made. It's just I was literally so happy when it ended at just what he was not able to do, and I just disgusted at the same time of what they did to his original version and what they butchered it, and it's just like, wow, man, wow. This makes it all so much worth it. So worth it. I enjoyed every moment of it. The only thing that I had problems with was that there's some moments where the CGI just kind of takes me out of it. And for the majority of the time, the CGI is much updated and it's much better. But there is a few scenes, just a few that really just stuck out like, oh, that's really not real. Or, oh, that really looks bad. Or, oh, that just seems out of place. Like some of those, and at some points during a sequence might have been a bit too long. And I know I'm saying like I wanted more. Like, well, why would you say that you wanted more? But like for the sake of the pacing of it, for the sake of like, does this scene drag on a bit too long? Yeah, it kind of did. So a bit of that was in there too, along with some bad CGI moments. But other than that, it was just, I loved it. It was a great movie. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, AD Silva 005, I rated it, and I do these Twitter reviews for movies that I've seen I've been doing them for a while. And I rated Zack Snyder's Justice League an 8.8 out of 10. So I think if people follow me, you're going to be happy with what you see. If you didn't like the movie, you're not going to like my review. I'm sorry, but again, no spoilers here, no spoilers. But this movie made a character that I didn't care about, made me care so much more that I almost shed a tear at one of their scenes. For real. I could not believe it, but it almost brought me to tears, because the thing with Zack Snyder's movies, and I picked this out in Man of Steel, and I can pick it out in this one. The way that he directs some of his scenes with the slow motion, when it's done properly, the slow motion, the soundtrack, it's just so beautiful in some points. It's just like, wow. Like you feel that. You feel that emotion. It's just like, wow. He really nailed it there. And it's just like, and it was so worth it. And I'm so happy that it was a good movie, and I'm so happy that it came out, and I'm so happy that people are enjoying it. Because it was, if you were on the fence about it, and you're like, oh, it's 4 hours long, I don't want to watch that. Well, it's divided into parts. So at one point it says part 1, da-da-da-da-da, with a title, and then it goes on. And then it'll fade to black again, part 2, title, da-da-da-da-da. You can kind of mark where you are if you want to take a couple sittings to watch it. You can do that. It's pretty easy. So I get it. If you don't want to watch it all at once, I get that. I wanted to, and for me, I was fulfilled. It was so fulfilling, and I loved it, and I enjoyed it. And I hope you do too, and I hope you check it out, because I do think it was worth it, and I do think it's worth the 4 hours and 2 minutes long. I really, really do. And with that, I think I'll end the show. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for listening on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and wherever else podcast feed you listen to. And I just want to encourage you guys to leave a like, leave a review, leave a 5-star rating, or whatever rating you want on a Apple Podcast, because that is very, very important. So if you can just keep that in your mind, remember to rate and review, like and subscribe, give a holler, comment. Criticisms are always good. Constructive criticisms are always good. I appreciate the listen, and I'll see you back next week.